Chapter 11. You are listening at Novelful.audio. He is Lin San from Tianjin City. Whispering voices immediately sounded all around, and Lin San had obviously heard of it. It is said that this person's talent is extremely terrifying, and his swordsmanship is also very good. Some professionals commented on him. After 100 years, the swordsmanship number 1. Ding dong, discover the chosen one, the level is epic. Qin Feng's eyes lit up, not to mention how happy he was, because Qin Hao is his own younger brother. He can't use his full strength every time, for fear that his parents won't be able to explain it to him, which resulted in only hitting 24 villain points in more than 5 years. Now that I meet someone who is not a relative or a relative, I can't get enough of it. If he remembers correctly, his second brother is also the chosen son of epic rank. At this time, the parents of both sides smiled awkwardly, but they didn't mean to stop. Although Lin Hao came here to form an alliance, he didn't want his daughter to marry a waste. In order to be able to form an alliance successfully, Qin Tian naturally hoped that his elder son Qin Feng would show his strength. It's okay if he loses, after all, he is only 8 years old, and the opponent is already 13 or 14 years old, and his cultivation has reached the 3rd level of extraordinary, but if he wins, he will show his face in a big way. Alright, just play with him. Qin Feng comprehended the intention of his father, and it was also in line with his own intentions. A strong aura surged around him, and the fallen leaves on the ground also slowly floated into the air. First stage of the transcendent realm. Lin Hao and other masters of Tianjin City all changed their faces, and they said in their hearts that this son has the qualifications of a great emperor. The 8-year-old transcendent realm is unprecedented. Especially his ability to make fallen leaves float in the air. If they read correctly, this is the famous stunt of the 10th patriarch of the Qin family. Falling leaves are flying. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, who would have believed that such a unique skill could be mastered at such a young age? At the same time, Lin Hao finally understood why the Daxia royal family has been targeting the Qin family everywhere recently. Once these two little guys grow up, wouldn't they be able to replace their royal family anytime and anywhere? Please advise. Lin San talked about martial arts very much, and he didn't forget to remind him before he started. It's just that he obviously overestimated Qin Feng's integrity. He never dared to be careless when facing the chosen son, and he never talked about martial arts, not to mention that the opponent's cultivation base was 2 levels higher than his. Before Lin San could react, he saw Qin Feng make a point, and the fallen leaves turned into sharp cutting machines, flying towards Lin San from all directions. Hey, do you talk about martial arts? Lin Xian urgently and strongly condemned Qin Feng's behavior. It's okay to do it without saying a word, but it's really despicable and shameless to go all out and use a big move as soon as he comes up. Clang. I saw Lin San draw out his saber unhurriedly, and thrust out with a sword. The sword body swayed lightly, bringing up a slight sword shadow. The sword was like flowing water under the moon, lightly knocking down the flying fallen leaves, and the fallen leaves also turned into debris. Another sword stabbed out, and the fierce sword wind emerged, causing the flying leaves to fall as if they had lost their traction. And Lin San's figure holding the sword flickered among them. Bang! Lin San waved a sword light, breaking Qin Feng's fallen leaves. Although his full set of movements is very pretentious, there are still a few more scratches on his body, and the heaving chest also proves that his sword consumes a lot. Good chance. Based on the principle of taking advantage of your illness to kill you, Qin Feng stepped on the mysterious phantom to take it easy, and rushed in front of Lin San in an instant. Without giving him any chance to react, he punched him in the face with his fist as big as a sandbag. What? Lin San screamed, and he flew out. Brother, that's great. Qin Hao danced happily, celebrating his brother's victory in advance. It's just that his behavior made Lin Xian feel very uncomfortable, and shouted loudly to cheer for Lin San. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for punching the chosen son and getting 200 villain points. Seeing the villain's credit card, Qin Feng immediately raised his fighting spirit and prepared to continue fighting for a whole day. It's just that he obviously underestimated Lin San's combat power. Before he could start a combo of moves, the opponent quickly stabilized his figure, and his body swept out, flying across the sky like a frightened bird, and a dark water-like sword appeared in his hand. Light. Sword intent. Qin Tian and the others exclaimed, and they even called out evildoers in their hearts. Sword intent is the existence that sword cultivators want to comprehend in their dreams. Once they comprehend the power of swordsmanship, the power of swordsmanship will rise several levels, greatly strengthening their own combat effectiveness. Not good. Qin Feng also felt the power of this sword, so he didn't intend to dodge quickly, but Lin San has come out of the passiveness at the beginning, coupled with the advantages of 2 small ranks in sword intent higher than Qin Feng. He swung his sword like a breeze, and brought a series of sword shadows to attack Qin. Wind. Even though Qin Feng's phantom happy walk is very mysterious, it is still like a small boat driving in huge waves, and there is a risk of being capsized at any time. Good job Lin San, give this young lady a good lesson. Lin Xan happily clapped her hands and applauded, and she didn't forget to stick out her little tongue at Qin Hao in disgust. Brother, come on. Qin Hao was so angry that his face flushed, and he shouted for Qin Feng with his voice. The others ignored the 2 little guys. They were already stunned by the 2 children. Ask yourself, when they were 8 years old, they couldn't break through the transcendent realm, and when they were 13 or 14, they couldn't comprehend sword intent. The back waves of the Yangtze River pushed the front waves, that everyone in the audience sighed with emotion in unison, knowing that the world of great struggle may be coming again. Whenever these Tianjiao get together and appear in the world, it is the day when Huanggu reshuffles the cards. At this time, Qin Feng is not in the mood to pay attention to the world of great controversy. What he is thinking about now is how to beat this kid to get villain points. Fuck, is this what it feels like for a villain to be suppressed by a protagonist? Qin Feng was beaten back again and again, and he was completely at a disadvantage, and he still had no strength to fight back. There is no way. The atmosphere was already in place, and he couldn't afford to lose this person. I can only use my nirvana, call the system Dad to exchange for the 2nd volume of Phantom Happy. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for spending 1 villain points to exchange for the 2nd volume of Phantom Happy. 1 points, not to mention the heartache in Qin Feng's heart. How many days would it take to beat his 2nd brother to save, points, which is another step away from his exchange for Dzogchen. No. Today, I must beat Lin San back. Qin Feng's body danced with the figure in his mind, turning into a breeze and swaying in the dark water like sword light, and it was not a problem to fly hundreds of meters away with ease. What? The faces of everyone in the audience changed suddenly, and it was seen that Qin Feng's body skills had broken through in the battle. The speed was obviously faster than before, and the steps under his feet were also more mysterious than before, easily dodging the heavy sword lights that Lin San swung over. Okay, my son Qin Feng has the qualifications of a great emperor. Qin Tian couldn't help laughing happily, and almost shouted in Lin Hao's ear with a loudspeaker. Amazing! Lin San showed an unprecedented serious expression, knowing that he could not defeat the opponent without showing his true skills. There was no wind at the corners of his clothes, and he was hunting. The dark water-like sword light in his hand was swaying in the wind, the air was torn apart, and there were bursts of mournful cries. Qin Feng also sensed that Lin San was about to open up, raised his hand and shouted into the void, "Come the sword." Chapter 12. If you love him, stab him in the heart. You are listening at NavelFull.audio. Buzz. The crisp sound of swords resounded throughout the city where the Qin family was located, and 9 sword lights pierced the void like meteors. 9 swords in the sky. Lin Hao and others are also people who know the goods, and they blurted out the origin of the 9 swords. I also heard people say that 5 years ago, Emperor Daxia came in a hurry, and the shameless eldest son of the Qin family cheated Chongkong 9 swords and Tianbao gourd. I thought it was just spreading rumors, but I didn't expect that he was really shameless, and he had to carry 9 swords on his body to reflect that cheap word. 9 swords in one. Qin Feng quickly pinched out a finger and pointed at the flying 9 swords. Buzz. The wind of the sword rolled out, the dust rolled, and the sword of 9 swords became more and more fierce, and the sound of roaring waves echoed in the void. When the sword wind stopped, a long sword with a cold light was suspended in front of Qin Feng. This is the sword of the sky sword god thousands of years ago, and it is also the top 10 magic weapon in Huanggu, the sky sword. Since obtaining the 9 swords of the sky, Qin Feng successfully refined the 9 swords of the sky with the help of the 10 patriarchs in 5 years, although I dare not say that it can reproduce the demeanor of the sword god of the sky, and I don't have the strength to fully control the 9 swords of the sky, but there is still no problem in fighting. 9 swords in the sky. Lin San's eyes were burning hot, and his breathing became short of breath. No way. The sword moves he used came from the sword god of the sky thousands of years ago. To be precise, he has obtained the inheritance of the sword god of the sky. If he can get the 9 swords of the sky, he will definitely be able to regain the style of the sword god of the past. However, he also knew that the Qin family was not easy to mess with. There was no difference between robbing and courting death, and he could only wait for the opportunity. Even if you have the blessing of the divine sword, you can't be my opponent. Lin San had absolute confidence in the inheritance of the sword god of the sky, and saw that he made a sudden move amidst the dust all over the sky, and a bright sword light cut through the void and caused waves of turmoil. Sky sword art. The god-level sword formula comprehended by the sword god of the sky from the laws of heaven and earth has the power of gods to block and kill gods, and Buddhas to block and kill Buddhas. This is. Both Qin Tian and Lin Hao are big bosses, so they naturally recognize the Chongkong sword art at a glance. I am afraid that the sword god of the sky 10,000 years ago would not have imagined that his sword art would match his saber 10,000 years later. Not good. Qin Tian's face changed drastically, and he wanted to step forward to stop him, although his eldest son Qin Feng has the qualifications of a great emperor, but he is only 8 years old. How can he resist the sword art of Chongkong's sword god? But before he could open his mouth, he saw the big boy Qin Feng with sharp eyes and a gesture of drawing his sword. Slash the sky and draw the sword. Nod your head and draw your sword. A crisp sound of clanging and drawing a sword resounded through the heaven and earth, and a stunning sword light suddenly appeared, and the icy chill swept the audience. The sword light was as light as a startling bird, as if it was about to cut the sky into 2. What kind of sword move is this? Everyone in the audience is a well-informed generation, but they have never seen Qin Feng's move. Could it be self-created? There are no bells and whistles, only the invincible sword that pursues the ultimate. When the sword is drawn out of the sheath, it can cut the sky and destroy the earth, and can also tell the winner. Boom! The 2 sword lights collided heavily, and a terrifying roar erupted, accompanied by a terrifying energy storm. Mother! Daddy! Qin Hao and Lin Xianer were not blown away by the wind because they grabbed their parents' clothes due to their low cultivation. How is this possible? Lin San's eyes widened in surprise. He couldn't believe that an 8-year-old child could master this kind of sword move. He thought that he was stronger than the opponent, and he also held the inheritance of the sword god of the sky, and understood the meaning of the sword, and defeated an 8-year-old kid with ease. But who knows that the other party taught him a lesson, making him understand that his sword is not the strongest. Bang! The sword in Lin San's hand shattered on the spot, unable to withstand the sharpness of the sky sword. He has the sword art of the sky, and Qin Feng also has the art of cutting the sky and drawing the sword. He has the sword intent. Qin Feng has the long sword Excalibur. His cultivation base is 2 small levels higher than Qin Feng's, but Qin Feng has 10 times the bonus of the emperor's capital. Plus the Tianbao gourd has returned to blue, so there is no reason why he should not win. What? Lin San's face was full of disbelief. He actually lost to an 8-year-old child. Along the way, he has always used the weak to defeat the strong, and gradually formed his invincible Dao heart, but today he was defeated by an 8-year-old child. A crack appeared in his invincible Dao heart immediately, and he fell into self-doubt. Ding dong! Congratulations to the host for cracking the invincible Dao heart of the chosen one and gaining 10 villain points. There are 10 cracks. If I stab him in the heart, wouldn't it be hundreds of millions every minute? At this time, Qin Feng was full of fighting spirit, stepping on the unpredictable phantom, and the long sword in his hand pierced Lin San's chest like a ghost. If you love him, just stab him in the heart. Not good. Even if Lin San started to develop his invincible Dao heart, he was still only a 13 or 14-year-old child. After being taught a lesson by Qin Feng, his rhythm also became chaotic, and those who were beaten were retreating steadily. every time there is a sword mark on his body, Qin Feng loves him more. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for injuring the chosen one and gaining 500 villain points. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for injuring the chosen one and gaining 500 villain points, that because Qin Hao is his own younger brother, he has never played as much as today. My brother is the best. Qin Hao raised his head proudly, wishing to tell everyone that this was his brother. The victory and defeat have been decided. Brother Qin's son really has the qualifications of a great emperor. Lin Hao waved his hand with a smile, and when Qin Feng was about to poke his heart, he pulled Lin San back, joke. Lin San is known as the first sword in 100 years, how could he let Qin Feng stab his heart here? Humph. Qin Feng was very dissatisfied with Lin Hao's shot, and just took away his score. However, he didn't say much. It should be known that the chosen son is a very mysterious creature. If he stays by force, it will definitely trigger some strong man's rescue attribute. It's better to accept it as soon as you see it, so as not to cause trouble for yourself. Ha ha. Qin Tian couldn't help laughing out loud when he heard someone complimenting him on how big he was, knowing that the matter of forming an alliance and getting married was a sure thing. The welcoming ceremony continues. Qin Tian led Lin Hao into the Qin family city. Lin Hao was very envious of rows of Qin family disciples who were highly cultivated. If he had a choice, he would rather spend more resources to cultivate a bloodline relative than to cultivate a person who has nothing to do with him. Unless this person is absolutely loyal to him, but loyal or not, who can tell? Soon, the parents of both sides began to discuss the marriage of their children. He thought that Lin Hao would choose Qin Feng, who just showed his talents as a great emperor, but to everyone's surprise, he actually chose Qin Hao, who was watching the show, as his son-in-law. Fuck. Qin Feng burst into foul language on the spot when he learned about it, and gained a new understanding of the unreasonableness of the chosen son. A battle as fierce as a tiger, talking about marriage without me. Chapter 13 New Usage of the Chosen Son. You are listening at NavelFull.audio. How? Qin Tian, Yun Xie and his wife looked at each other, feeling very surprised. It stands to reason that Qin Feng has already proved himself with his strength just now, whose 8-year-old child can have such terrifying combat power. On the other hand, although Qin Hao possesses the supreme bone, which is 1 in a million, but because it has not been activated yet, no one knows what his combat power is, to this dash. Lin Hao just smiled and didn't want to explain. The reason why he chose Qin Hao was definitely not a random choice, but a choice made after weighing the pros and cons. As we all know, Qin Feng and Qin Hao are twins, and the difference in talent is not too great, from the fact that his elder brother Qin Feng had just broken various records, and his younger brother Qin Hao was able to break immediately. It can be seen that the talent of his younger brother Qin Hao is obviously slightly higher than that of his elder brother Qin Feng. Given that the two had the same education and background, he was naturally more inclined to the younger brother with the supreme bone. The most important thing is that Huanggu has been rumored recently that the Blood Moon evildoer born 8 years ago is Qin Feng, and he is also a confidant of the great Xia royal family. Investing in Qin Feng is too risky, so invest in his younger brother Qin Hao insurance. If something really happened to the Qin family one day, Qin Hao could only have one heart with their Tianjin city. Alright. Qin Tian didn't ask too much. Anyway, his purpose was to form an alliance through marriage. As long as the two masters in the east and west of Daxia join forces, even if the royal family of Daxia unites with other families, they will have to consider the consequences. As long as they can buy time for the two little guys to grow up, then their Qin family will win. In the end, with the tacit understanding of the parents of both parties, a marriage concerning their own interests was settled in this way. It's just that at this time the two parties are completely unaware that Lin Xiner is playing in the Qin family's city accompanied by the two brothers, and that Lin San is also traveling with her. Why do I feel like I'm going to die at any moment? As a villain of destiny, Qin Feng, together with the two epic-level chosen sons, even in the Qin family city, protected by tens of millions of old cousins of the Qin family, still has no sense of security. I'm afraid that they will open the halo together and send the whole family away neatly. Wow, it's so lively here. Lin Xiner couldn't help but exclaimed, seeing that they had arrived at the Qin family's market. different from the mortal market that sells vegetables. This is a market for cultivators, and it sells some treasures such as immortal herbs, elixirs, and magic weapons for cultivation. Since the Qin family is the absolute ruler of the eastern part of the Great Xia dynasty, the safety of the Qin family's city is absolutely beyond doubt. Every day, a large number of foreign practitioners come here to trade, and the Qin family also needs these transactions to strengthen the family disciples, so such a free trade market has gradually formed. What? Qin Hao and Lin San's eyes lit up at the same time, and they all looked at a dilapidated small tripod. What? Qin Feng also became energetic immediately, as if LSP had unlocked a new posture. Rather than worrying about being overwhelmed to death by these two chosen sons, it is better to use their unreasonable luck to hunt for treasures. Being able to be watched by the two chosen sons at the same time, Xiao Ding must not be something ordinary. I saw it first. Qin Hao and Lin Sanson stared at each other. Neither of them wanted to give up Xiao Ding. But when they were fighting with Snipe and Clam, Qin Feng turned into a fisherman and asked the seller how much it was. Originally 1,000 spirit stones. If the eldest son wants it, how about 888 spirit stones? The stall owner carefully stated the quotation, and did not forget to observe Qin Feng's expression, as if he would immediately lower the price as soon as Qin Feng frowned. No way. As a local snake, the Qin family would dare not give face. 888 spirit stones. Practitioners passing by stopped one after another, saying that the stall owner must be crazy about money. You know, the value of one spirit stone can make a mortal eat and drink for a lifetime, and a cultivator can absorb it for a week of hard work. Now a small broken tripod dares to ask for 888 spirit stones. The stall owner also became nervous at this time. He definitely didn't have the idea of taking Qin Feng as a victim, but the origin of this small tripod is really unusual. He was originally a small leader of the Tiger Head gang, with a gang of more than people. One day the gang leader learned of the location of a ruin, and he led a gang of people to dig it. As a result, more than gang members died, and finally entered the depths of the ruins. There is no picture of glittering gold as imagined, only a small broken tripod is enshrined on a stone platform. The gang leader didn't know if he was injured too badly before, or because of some other reason. He just spat out a mouthful of blood and died. He became the only survivor somehow. 888 lingshire is already a jumping price for a small broken tripod bought by a gang of people. Okay, I'll take the 888 lingshire. Fearing that the night would be long and dreamy, Qin Feng asked the stall owner to go to Qin's house to withdraw money. As the eldest son of the Qin family, the number one family in ancient times, it was reasonable for him not to bring any money with him when he went out. Thank you, my lord. The stall owner happily thanked him again and again, and hurriedly handed the small tripod to Qin Feng. You. Lin San was stunned, and was frightened by Qin Feng's arrogance. I didn't even look at the items, and I didn't even pay back the price, so I sold 888 lingshire directly. You don't have to be so capricious even if you have money. It's just that for some reason he felt wronged. Although he didn't know what Xiao Ding was useful for, his intuition told him that it was a good thing. He was able to achieve today largely because of intuition. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for destroying the chance of the chosen one and getting a chance to draw a lottery. This is really a baby. Qin Feng took the tripod and looked at it carefully, but he didn't see anything strange. Nima. Do you want to treat them differently? Why can the protagonist intuitively see that it is a treasure, but when he holds it in his hand, he can only see that it is a small broken tripod? He refuses to accept. The villain refuses to accept. Brother, can you give me a favor? Qin Hao started shaking Qin Feng's arm again, trying to get Xiao Ding by acting cute and pitiful. It's just that Qin Feng has never accepted his tricks, and only his younger sister can make him compromise, but he really can't see anything special about this little tripod, but it can be activated by the second brother, the chosen son of heaven. All right, Qin Feng said seriously, I just spent 888 spirit stones to buy this little tripod. As an older brother, I offered 2 8s. As long as you pay for the remaining 8, I will lend you a few days to play. Brother, you are so kind. Qin Hao obviously hadn't turned the corner yet, and happily took out a cloth bag. It is a storage bag commonly used by practitioners. It contains the lucky money he has saved in recent years. Qin Feng has been coveting this for a long time. Soon, under Qin Feng's flickering, Qin Hao took out an 8, which is 800 spirit stones. The passers-by around were completely speechless, but anyone with a kindergarten graduation certificate would not be fooled by this. Chapter 14 The Joy of the Villain. You are listening at NavelFull.audio. Ding dong, it was detected that the host deceived the ignorant chosen son, and got 500 villain points. Qin Feng happily put away the 800 spirit stones, and also kept his promise to lend Xiaoding to his second brother to play for a few days. As long as it is successfully activated, he will take it back. To this dash, Qin Hao not only didn't feel a loss, but felt that he had gained. His brother spent 88, and he only spent 8, a whole 8 less than his brother. What a stupid Oudou Dou. Qin Feng looked at the stupid second brother, and really didn't understand why a villain like himself with high EQ and IQ would be trampled by him in the end according to the setting. What's the use of this little cauldron? NaN EP20 also leaned over curiously, reaching out to see what's so special about Xiaoding. It's just that Qin Hao seemed to be guarding against thieves, and hurriedly put Xiaoding into his arms, not showing any face to his future daughter-in-law. NaN EP20 stomped his feet in anger. As the little princess of Tianjin City, no one has ever dared to disrespect her like this. Miss Ben isn't too rare anymore, Lin-san, let's go. NaN EP20 was a typical tsundere, a little lowly. She didn't have the word begging for help in her dictionary, so she took Lin-san to continue wandering around the Qin's bazaar. After Qin Feng tasted the sweetness, he naturally followed with a stern face, always paying attention to the changes in Lin-san's expression. Why does this eldest son of the Qin family keep peeking at me? Lin-san's back turned cold when he was watched, and he panicked even more. As the servant of the little princess of Tianjin City, I have heard that some nobles have special hobbies, and they like servants like him with delicate skin and tender flesh, especially those aristocratic children who look particularly good. The level of wildness behind their backs is staggering. Could it be that Qin Feng is this kind of person? As if to prove his conjecture, this eldest son of the Qin family directly bought all the products that his gaze stayed on for 2 seconds longer. It's like a domineering president going shopping with his little wife. In order to show off his financial strength, the little wife buys everything within sight. It's not scientific. Qin Feng looked at the pile of things he bought in doubt, and there was no treasure comparable to Xiaoding. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for snatching the fairy grass of the chosen one and getting 300 villain points. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for snatching the elixir of the chosen one and getting 300 villain points. Although they are all rare treasures and can get villain points, Qin Feng obviously wants to get a chance to win the system's lottery. I still don't believe it. You can't find real treasures in such a big Qin family market. In the next few days, Qin Feng took Lin-san to go shopping regardless of the weather. Lin-san was so frightened that he had goosebumps all over his body. He felt more and more that Qin Feng was greedy for his body. He couldn't sleep all night and kept his sword in his hand to be vigilant, fearing that he would accidentally lose his innocence. His inspiration is to be an excellent servant, not to be an excellent servant. Is this the eldest son of the Qin family? The people in the Qin family's market pointed at Qin Feng, and they were like thunder to this eldest son of the Qin family. In the past, they only heard that the eldest son of the Qin family had the qualifications of a great emperor, but they had never seen him make a move. It was not until the city of Tianjin came that they really saw the horror of him, breaking through the transcendent realm at the age of 8, making breakthroughs in body skills, creating his own sword-cutting technique, and defeating the successor of the Sky Sword God with a single sword. Looking at the entire ancient times, there is probably no Tianjiao who can have such a record. The title of the great emperor is well deserved. At the same time, some people noticed that the things Qin Feng bought were rare treasures, and those who knew the goods could tell at a glance that they didn't even miss it once. Sharp. Everyone in the audience was extremely shocked, and they all admired the eldest son of the Qin family even more. If you want to distinguish so many treasures accurately, you don't have to rely on your cultivation base and strength. It requires profound knowledge and years of real kung fu. now that an 8-year-old child can do this, how can it not be shocking? A few days later the Qin family and the Lin family announced their engagement to the world, which also represented the formal alliance between the Qin family and Tianjin City. Lin Hao also brought a large team to return to Tianjin City. "Brother Qin, just leave now." Lin Hao clasped his fists, with a very reluctant expression on his face. "Brother Lin, be careful all the way." Qin Tian was also full of reluctance, and wanted to continue after sending him hundreds of miles away. When he was leaving, Qin Feng looked at Lin San with reluctance. His dual-core treasure hunter only had one core left. Although the dual-core treasure hunter only got him an unknown little tripod, the other treasures made him a lot of money. Now the entire Qin family market is full of legends about him, and everyone wants to know how he identifies treasures. Woo! Feeling Qin Feng's reluctance in his eyes, Lin San said in his heart that he couldn't take it anymore, and just wanted to get away from this man quickly, for fear that if he stayed any longer, he would really be broken. That night, Qin Feng suffered from insomnia. Because of Lin San's appearance, he experienced the joy of being a villain. In just a few days, 15 villain points were squeezed out of him, and there was also a chance to draw a lottery. It was the happiness that the second brother could not give him, which made him want to run away from home to find Lin San. "Let's draw the lottery first." Qin Feng shook his head and started calling the system. Clap. The spinning lottery turntable reappeared in front of my eyes, and it was still densely packed with prizes, such as Taishang Body, Celestial Hegemony Body, Dozhan Saint Body, Chaos Saint Body, Double Eyes, Supreme Bone, True Dragon Treasure Technique, Hua Zi Zai Tian. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for winning the God-level Dharma, Dawei Tian Long. Boom. There was a thunder in Qin Feng's mind, and he came to another world as if his soul had come out of his body. Roar. 100-foot-long golden dragon hovered in the sky and let out a dragon roar, causing the air to turmoil, and the place where it passed was even more broken, showing the aura of the king of beasts. Before Qin Feng could react, the giant dragon rushed towards him and got into his body directly. Whoosh! Qin Feng woke up in a cold sweat, and found that there were more golden dragon patterns on his body, and some more instructions in his mind. With the use of the dragon pattern on the body, you can use the God-level Dharma, the mighty dragon. This move not only has powerful power, but also doubles the damage to the Yaozu. It can be said to be the nemesis move of the Yaozu. It can also strengthen his own defense, and has the ability to distinguish between a human and a demon at a glance. Creak. Qin Feng's door was opened. I saw my younger brother Qin Hao poked his head in and looked around. When he saw that Qin Feng was still asleep, he immediately hugged the little pillow happily, climbed onto the bed with his bare feet, and said that he would sleep with his brother tonight. It's always my younger sister who is afraid to come to my elder brother at night, so how can I become my younger brother when it's my turn, and I'm also the chosen one? Qin Feng looked at his younger brother who fell asleep speechlessly, always felt that he was tempting himself with the supreme bone, and more or less disrespected him as a villain. Chapter 15. You are listening at NavelFull.audio. In the Great Xia Palace, Emperor Daxia is in the early court. All the civil and military officials of the Manchu dynasty got the news of the alliance between the Qin family and the city of Tianjin, and they also knew that the eldest son of the Qin family broke through the extraordinary realm at the age of 8, and defeated Lin San by creating his own art of cutting the sky and drawing the sword. That is the descendant of the sky sword god, known as the first sword after 100 years. It can be seen that the growth of the two talents of the Qin family is much faster than expected. The Qin family has formed an alliance with the city of Tianjin, which means they don't pay attention to the imperial court at all. The heart can be punished, the heart can be punished. I suggest that you send troops immediately, and destroy them with thunderbolts while their alliance is not yet stable. You think the Qin family and the city of Tianjin are paper, is it that easy to deal with? If the Qin family and Tianjin city are so easy to deal with, the imperial court will let them dominate the east and west for so many years. I suggest peace talks. In recent years, there have been frequent phenomena of heaven and earth, and the world of great conflict has come. We must not fight in the nest. After undergoing reforms 100 years ago, the Inua dynasty is now stronger and its ambitions are no longer concealed. Recently, it has appointed 2 Tianjiao as holy sons. They are the number 1 enemies of our great Xia. Your Majesty, please consider the overall situation. Now is not the time to fight. The Emperor Daxia looked at the 2 factions of ministers formed below, and for a moment didn't know how to choose, to fight against the invasion of the Inua dynasty. The great families of the great Xia dynasty need to be united, but the price of unity has given the 2 geniuses of the Qin family time to grow. If my Daxia royal family also produces a few Tianjiao, why should it be so? The Emperor Daxia sighed with emotion of the belatedness of a hero, and he also understood where the root of the problem came from. The times are always changing, but it is acceptable. It is a pity that the previous wave is far away, and the successor is not seen. Qin family. Qin Feng sat cross-legged in his small courtyard, with a strong aura condensed all over his body. Ever since he broke through to the transcendent realm, he couldn't keep up with the 33 heavenly fortune Ju. He could only spend 3 villain points to open the aura of understanding for a month to comprehend the 3rd heaven. What a terrifying comprehension, that the 10 ancestors stood aside with a look of surprise, and could clearly sense the changes in Qin Feng's body, and this kind of change comes from practicing exercises. When the exercises are understood to a deeper level, it will be reflected in the body. Now Qin Feng's physical body is not only stronger, but also has a super self-healing ability. I dare not say resurrection from the dead, but the regeneration of severed limbs should not be a big problem. What law of heaven and earth did this child comprehend back then? The 10 patriarchs said that he had never seen this kind of exercise before, and that he could be reborn with a broken limb just by comprehending the 3rd level. Bang! A muffled sound came from Qin Feng's body. The runes around his body erupted with dazzling golden light, and his aura was stronger than before, which indicated that he not only comprehended the 3rd level of heaven, but also broke through the 2nd level of transcendent realm. Monster! Point 10 Patriarch couldn't help sighing with emotion, thinking of the scene when Qin Feng was born. It is worthy of being the blood moon evildoer who can stir up the world. The degree of evildoer is beyond the imagination of ordinary people. Boom! Boom! Bells rang throughout the entire Qin family city, causing everyone's expressions to change. This is the emergency bell that the Qin family has not sounded for hundreds of years. It means that the Qin family has encountered a major crisis. All clan members must be prepared for a 1st-level battle. A big battle that concerns the life and death of the Qin family is about to begin. What happened? The 10 patriarchs' face turned serious and turned into white light and disappeared. The survival of the family? I think this matter has something to do with the 2nd brother. Qin Feng found another excuse to spank his 2nd brother's ass, got up and started looking for his 2nd brother Qin Hao everywhere. In fact, he didn't want to do this either. Originally, his dream was just to become a dandy and live a life of luxury, but because of this little thing, he had to work hard to protect himself, and now he was in danger of exterminating his family. It's really hard to calm down if you don't beat him up. In the Qin family hall, as the head of the family, Qin Tian sits at the top, and below him are the leaders from various branches of the Qin family. There are as many as 13 people, and they are also called the 13 Taibao of the Qin family by the world. Reported from the Qin family's insider in the Daxia palace, the Emperor Daxia decided to take action against the Qin family after repeated consideration. Grandma, let's fight, whoever is afraid of whom. There was uncontrollable excitement in the eyes of the burly leader, and the big knife in his hand was already hungry and thirsty. It stands to reason that we have just formed an alliance with the city of Tianjin, and there is the Inua dynasty outside. It is impossible for the great Xia royal family to be so unwise. It is also said that the scholar-like leader frowned, full of worries about this war. If they had to win by means of war, the final result would only be a loss for both sides, and the Inua dynasty would be in vain at that time. The best way is to delay the time and give the brothers Qin Feng and Qin Hao time to grow up. The great Xia royal family is cutting off the wrists of a strong man. Qin Tian said with a serious expression, with my Qin family's prestige in Great Xia, it can be replaced once it grows up, so he intends to strike before my Qin family grows up. Hold on to half of the country. In order to become emperor, they really worked hard. that the 13 leaders looked extremely serious, knowing that this battle was inevitable. However, the war is not something that the great Xia Emperor can start at will. He still needs to get rid of those aristocratic families and promise some benefits to the other party, otherwise who will give him his life. In other words, there will be no war in the short term, and they have enough time to prepare for the war. Is it really going to war? Qin Feng can clearly feel the changes in the Qin family, with a depressive atmosphere that is full of wind and rain. In the past, every Qin family had a confident smile on their faces, but now they are all serious and expressionless, and there are no graceful figures of young ladies and daughter-in-laws on the street, replaced by rows of armored men. Warrior. Can this battle be won? Qin Feng is not a child, so he can naturally analyze the current situation. Although the Qin family formed an alliance with Tianjin city to occupy half of the Great Xia, the major families led by the Great Xia Emperor were not vegetarians. Even if they could win by luck in the end, there was still a Inuit dynasty watching over them. The most important point is that they have a chosen son on their side. As we all know, the chosen one does not need the support of a powerful family at the beginning. Even if he was born in a powerful family, he will leave the family for various reasons. Either the family will perish, or they will break with the family. So the chances of them winning this battle are basically zero. So here comes the question, should he run away quickly? No, they are all my close friends, relatives, brothers and sisters. Qin Feng shook his head quickly, and began to think about how to turn against the wind. The last solution is naturally to log into the full-level red-haired old monster, but suddenly he had a flash of inspiration. Remembering that the system issued a task to dig out his brother's supreme bone, maybe he can dig out his brother's supreme bone. Chapter 16 almost moved me to tears. You are listening at NavelFull.audio. Ancestral Hall of the Qin family. There are as many as 10,000 plus tablets enshrining the ancestors who fought for the Qin family. A white-haired old man sat cross-legged on the futon. He was the first patriarch of the Qin family. Behind him stood 9 other patriarchs, as well as Qin Feng's chief father, Qin Tian. Ancestor, that's the way it is. Qin Tian knelt on the ground respectfully, telling the ins and outs of the matter. The ancestor didn't turn his head, and said slowly, since this battle is inevitable, let's fight. Yes, everyone looked serious and promised to fight to the end. At this time, a childish voice broke the serious atmosphere. Old ancestor, don't. Fenger, get out. That when Qin Tian saw Qin Feng running in with 2 short legs, he hurriedly reprimanded him to let him go out, made a lot of noise in the ancestral temple, and dared to question the decision of the ancestor. It was really unruly. You shut up. Instead of blaming him, the first ancestor reprimanded Qin Tian, then turned around with a smile on his face, and waved to Qin Feng who ran in. Yes, Qin Tian was extremely wronged. They are also descendants of their ancestors. Why is there such a big gap? Is it because he doesn't have the qualifications of a great emperor? Fenger, what did you mean when you said no? The first ancestor looked at Qin Feng with a full face of doting, not to mention liking this junior. Since he was a child, he was very good at visiting, and often brought delicious food to visit him. Unlike other unfilial children and grandchildren, there is nothing else to do except fight with him, Qin Feng said seriously with a small face. Only a fool would think of winning through war. If you win, you will waste your vitality. If you lose, my Qin family will be in danger. Fool. The ancestors who were present looked at Qin Tian together, as if they were saying that they would never take the blame, that you are the head of the Qin family. The corners of Qin Tian's eyes twitched unconsciously, and a big shit appeared in his heart. How do you say, you have a way to win without going to war? The first ancestor immediately became interested, and wanted to hear what the 8-year-old child had to say. Now it's not their Qin family who want to start a war, but the great Xia royal family who want to start a war against them. It's a war related to their own interests. No one is right or wrong, and there is no possibility of peace talks. Of course, Qin Feng said confidently. Actually, the cause of the whole incident was that the appearance of my second brother and I broke the balance and made the royal family feel threatened. As long as we find a way to hide me and my second brother, there will be no reason for the war to continue. Gone. That's it. After all, it is the thinking of a child. Even if the two brothers are hidden now, the great Xia royal family will never let it go, unless the two brothers die or are abolished. That's right, it's abolished. Qin Feng's face was extremely serious, and he took out a yellowed ancient book. He was the one who redeemed it from the system, and related ancient books about some rare constitutions clearly recorded detailed information about the supreme bone, including the correct way to open the supreme bone. Dig the bones, break them and stand them up. The ancestor present couldn't help but exclaimed. He was shocked by the correct way to open the supreme bone. If other people's family produced the supreme bone, they would have to offer it as a treasure. Who would be cruel enough to dig out the child's supreme bone, and then use great perseverance to break it and become the supreme position? The ancestor was silent for a long time before he said, "This method is feasible." What? The old ancestor present exclaimed. Unexpectedly, the old ancestor agreed. I object. Qin Tian immediately said anxiously, Howard is only 5 years old, he is still a child, this is not the pain he should bear at his age. The ancestor said unhurriedly, if you want to achieve the supreme position, you can't just rely on a supreme bone. You also need great perseverance and boldness. There is also a certain number in the dark. There is a definite number in the dark. The ancestors present couldn't help but look at each other, wondering if the ancestors had seen some secret. But Qin Tian understood all the truths, but he couldn't do anything about his son. The first ancestor ignored Qin Tian, looked at Qin Feng with great interest, and asked, Howard can hide himself by digging bones, and in the future, he will become the supreme position after being broken. How can you hide yourself and show the talent of the emperor in the future? Qin Feng said awe-inspiringly. The eldest son of the Qin family was jealous of his second brother's talent, and personally dug out the second brother's supreme bone for his own use. When the Qin family found out and fled the Qin family, the ancestor of the Qin family was furious and expelled Qin Feng, a rebellious son, from Qin forever. Family, and even issued a kill order to the entire Huanggu. As soon as the voice fell, the audience was shocked. They really didn't dare to imagine that the child in front of them was only 8 years old. He was not only cruel to others, but even more cruel to himself. If Qin Hao only suffered physical pain when his bones were dug out, then Qin Feng would suffer both physically and mentally. Not only was he labeled as a traitor of the Qin family, but he also lost the protection of the Qin family and was hunted down endlessly. Qin Hao could only be innocent until the day he grew up. The prerequisite was that he had to survive until that day. Qin Feng expressed no pressure on this, and the full-level red-haired old monster is not a decoration. No. As a father, Qin Tian couldn't accept this plan no matter what. The eldest son has to bear the expectations of the whole family to survive outside, and the youngest son has to bear the unbearable pain of ordinary people to grow up step by step. No parent would want their children to suffer such pain. Do heroic things, bear the name of the world, for the sake of the family, I am willing. Qin Feng Dei raised his head and chest out in awe, almost moved himself to tears. 1 2 3 4 5, 17. He is only 8 years old. He is still a child. In order to save the family from war, there is no hesitation, even if it bears the eternal infamy. The Qin family has this descendant, why worry about not being strong in the future? Ding dong, such a hypocritical villain. There should be applause here. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the portable space. Qin Feng immediately noticed the portable space, which is about 1,000 square meters in size. It is really a must-have equipment for home travel, murder and arson. The ancestor tried his best to restrain himself and still said in a trembling voice, the ancestor knows that you are a good boy, but do you know what you will face in the future if you do this? You have no chance of regretting it. I don't regret it. The sharp edge of a sword comes from sharpening, and the fragrance of plum blossoms comes from the bitter cold. How can you see a rainbow without going through wind and rain? Qin Feng's eyes are clear and firm, but at this time his mental activity is 5 years. Do you know how I have spent the past 5 years? Stop beeping. Hurry up and let me dig the supreme bone. I want to complete the task. I want invincible double pupils. I don't want to be a good baby at home. I want to go out to Xinshu village to find beautiful ladies and daughters-in-law. It is good. The ancestor uttered a word with difficulty, as if exhausting all his strength. He knew that the plan Qin Feng said was the best, which could minimize the loss of the entire Qin family. Even if the worst happened, it would only be the sacrifice of Qin Feng alone, but if he can persist until that day, the Qin family will become stronger because of him. Ancestor, I beg you. Qin Tian hurriedly knelt down and kowtowed, his eyes full of humble pleas. He really couldn't help but watch his own son being chased and killed outside, and he had to pretend to be indifferent, which was really too painful and cruel for a father. Father, don't worry, the child will come back safely. Qin Feng was moved to help the cheap father up, and he also called his father sincerely for 8 years. This father is also his promise to him, and he will definitely come back and help him remove the oxygen tube with his own hands. Chapter 17 Supreme Bone, I accept it. You are listening at NavelFull.audio. Night falls, the whole Qin family was silent. As the emergency bell of the war rang, the Qin family cancelled all nighttime activities, and everyone was busy improving their cultivation. Only the strong could survive the ensuing war. Creak. Qin Hao's door was slowly pushed open, and Qin Feng walked in slowly. Through the faint moonlight coming in from the window, I saw my second younger brother sleeping soundly while hugging the little broken tripod. His innocence made it hard to let go. Brother is also doing it for your own good. Qin Feng kept comforting himself in his heart, and he had no choice but to do so. Only by digging out the supreme bone of the second brother can the vitality of the Qin family be preserved, and it will become dormant from the open to the dark, and it will also allow the second brother to experience hardships and grow up as soon as possible, and help him complete the task. The most important thing is that Dad can no longer shout, "My son Qin Feng has the qualifications of a great emperor, all in all. Forgive me, my stupid Oudou Dou. Elder brother." Qin Hao woke up rubbing his eyes in a daze, and saw Qin Feng standing in front of his bed, but before he threw himself into his brother's arms happily, he felt a huge pain in his chest. He looked down and saw his brother's hand inserted into his body. Elder brother. Qin Hao raised his head in disbelief, and what he saw was no longer the smiling big brother, but a ruthless big brother instead. The supreme bone, I accept it. In the end, Qin Feng's heart became cruel, and he pulled out the supreme bone alive. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for injuring the chosen one, putting his life on the line, and obtaining 80 villain points. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for digging out the supreme bone of the chosen one, destroying the chance of the chosen one, and getting a chance to draw a lottery. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for digging out the supreme bone of the chosen son, completing the epic task of the villain of destiny, and obtaining the invincible double pupil. 3 rewards in a row made Qin Feng feel a little dazed. At the same time, his eyes also mutated, and his pupils split into 2, as if he could see through the essence of the world, and he could close the double pupils at any time and become a normal person. Boom. The small cauldron in Qin Hao's hand fell, and he also fell on the bed. This is the invincible double pupil. Qin Feng's eyes fell on shouting, it's different from the last time he saw it. Now he can see that there seems to be a weak soul body inside, which should be the protagonist's exclusive grandfather. Fake, it must be fake. Qin Hao kept struggling on the bed, not believing that his brother would treat him like this, but no matter how much he didn't believe it, he couldn't change the reality. He could only watch helplessly as his brother left without looking back while holding the supreme bone. As for the small tripod, Qin Feng didn't take it. Let's not talk about whether the grandfather recognizes him as the master. Even if he recognizes him, he doesn't need it. His system is much more powerful than the old man's, so it's better to leave it to the second brother. A bone for a grandfather. He earned it. After Qin Feng left, a sigh came from the small cauldron. Double pupils are the way to invincibility, so why borrow someone else's bones? Done. The small cauldron flashed a soft light, wrapping Qin Hao up for treatment. At this time did I in the room of Qin Feng's parents. No. After Yun Xie heard about the future fate of her 2 sons, she cried and shook her head again and again. I begged Qin Tian not to do this. As a mother, she couldn't just watch her son suffer outside. He is only 8 years old. He is still a child. And the truth of the matter cannot be told to her younger brother Qin Hao, which means that she may see her two sons killing each other in the future, which is really too cruel for a mother. We have to trust him. Qin Tian tried his best to restrain his emotions, and hugged his wife tightly in his arms. Why didn't he know that this was a pain that parents couldn't bear, but as the head of the Qin family, he couldn't just watch his clansmen go to death, let alone watch the Qin family fight for both sides. The Qin family's hibernation today is only for the future's soaring dragon. Gudong. 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 There were 3 kowtow sounds outside the door. It was Qin Feng who came to his parents' door and kowtowed 3 times. Wind. Yunxie couldn't hold back anymore, and wanted to open the door to see her son for the last time, but he was stopped by Qin Tian. Now that Yunxie sees Qin Feng, the scene will definitely be out of control. At that time, attracting other people to watch, wouldn't all previous efforts be wasted? Father, mother, the child is gone. That without the slightest hesitation, Qin Feng got up and left the Qin family without looking back. My son, Yunxie cried heartrendingly in Qin Tian's arms, hammering Qin Tian's chest continuously. That was a piece of flesh that fell from her body. Now she has to watch him suffer and be chased and killed by all kinds of people. How can she bear it? Came to the gate of the Qin family, feeling the cool breeze at night. Qin Feng looked back at the Qin family again. It has been 8 years since he came to this world, and here he feels the warmth of home, the love of relatives and friends. In order to protect this home, he must leave here. Ancient Miss Sister, little daughter-in-law, Qin Feng, are here. What? Qin Feng was stunned when he saw the crooked neck tree at the door. Like Xiao Ding, he couldn't see any problems before, but now with the help of Chong Tong, he can see an extremely terrifying energy contained in it, dilapidated, desolate. As if not belonging to this world, it came across hundreds of epochs. Good guy, the chosen one is really unreasonable. Qin Feng looked at the supreme bone in his hand speechlessly. Compared with Grandpa Xiao Ding and the mysterious crooked neck tree, the supreme bone seemed to be the bottom of the list. At this time, the first ancestor's sound transmission reached Qin Feng's ear. My child, it will be dawn soon, and the Qin family's order to hunt and kill you will also spread throughout Huanggu. Where are you going? Go to the Inuit dynasty. Qin Feng looked at the front awe-inspiringly, saying that he was going to the most dangerous place. Since the reform of the Inuit dynasty 100 years ago, it has been different from other dynasties. It is a bit of a later generation presidential system. It is no longer hereditary, but the capable ones. He is a traitor of the Qin family, and I believe the other party will be very interested. The most important thing is that after the reform of the Inuit dynasty, the strength has become stronger and stronger. It is inevitable to challenge Xia, the former boss. Going undercover by himself can be regarded as an added guarantee for the future of the Qin family. As for the fact that 3 of the 4 great beauties in ancient times came from the Inuit dynasty, he said that he was not interested at all. Son, you must come back alive. The first ancestor tried his best to restrain his emotions, and he was moved by Qin Feng, so he didn't want to. He is only 8 years old. Everything is for the sake of the family is ashamed of him. Ding dong, such a hypocritical villain, there should be applause here. Congratulations to the host for doubling the size of his portable space. Who is TM hypocritical? He is the hope of the Qin family. Qin Feng despises the system fiercely in his heart, so if it can't speak, don't speak. At this time an exclamation came from the Qin family. Come on, the second son has been attacked. Chapter 18 Expulsion from the Qin family. You are listening at NavelFull.audio. The originally silent night suddenly became noisy. After the entire Qin family heard that the second son Qin Hao had been attacked, they immediately thought that the Daxia royal family couldn't afford a sneak attack, and all angrily took out their weapons and prepared to tear this person into pieces, and when they saw Qin Hao, their anger was instantly full. There is such a cruel person in the world who dug out the supreme bone of a 5-year-old child. This is not only cruel, but also cut off the future hope of their Qin family. It's bearable. Uncle can't bear it. Auntie can bear it, but I can't bear it. But when everyone heard about the murderer, they were completely dumbfounded. Qin Feng. How is this possible? Who doesn't know that the eldest son of the Qin family is polite, gentle, hard-working, excellent in character and learning, and has shown extremely high self-cultivation since he was a child? He is the best candidate for the next generation of patriarch in everyone's minds. How could he do such a cruel thing and dig out his brother's supreme bone with his own hands? Impossible, absolutely impossible. Everyone in the Qin family shook their heads again and again, and they didn't believe it was Qin Feng even if they were beaten to death. Although Qin Feng often bullied Qin Hao, it seemed to them that it was a normal fight between children. The two brothers usually kiss each other, so how could they do such cruel things? It's him, this traitor. Qin Tian's pain, anger and other emotions were intertwined on his face, and his body trembled uncontrollably. Originally he had a happy family, but his father and son were separated because of the great Xia royal family. I can only watch helplessly as my 8-year-old son struggles to survive outside, but he cannot give him any help. The 5-year-old son suffers from the pain of bone digging, the pain of being broken and standing up. As a father, how could he not be angry? Puff. Qin Tian couldn't control it anymore, and spat out a mouthful of blood. As the head of the Qin family, he has endured too much, but he can't tell others, so he can only carry these burdens on his own. Homeowner. Everyone in the Qin family was taken aback, and finally believed that it was Qin Feng who did it. As the patriarch of the Qin family, the #1 family in the ancient times, Qin Tian's cultivation is absolutely unfathomable, but he was still so angry that he vomited blood, which shows how much pain this matter has brought him. The palms of the hands and the backs of the hands are full of flesh, but the siblings are killing each other, and that parent can't bear it. At this time, the voice of the second patriarch of the Qin family sounded. Qin Feng was jealous. He dug up his brother's supreme bone for his own use. He committed a heinous crime. Not only did he not repent, he even injured the guards and escaped from the Qin family. I announce in the name of the second patriarch of the Qin family. Expelled Qin Feng Nizi from the Qin family, and issued the Qin family's hunting order. Life or death does not matter. Expelled from the family? Live or die? Everyone in the Qin family was shocked, hoping that the second patriarch would forgive him. Now that Qin Hao's supreme bone has been crippled, if he loses the capital of Qin Feng, the great emperor, what capital does their Qin family have to win in the world of great struggle? This son's character is not worthy of being a disciple of my Qin family. That the second patriarch suppressed his trembling voice and uttered the most contrary sentence in his life. If Qin Feng is not worthy, who else is worthy to be a disciple of the Qin family? At this time, the sun slowly rises from the horizon. The ancestor of the Qin family and others stood on the high tower of the Qin family, watching the figure of the child in the distance. From now on, he will bear the expectations of the entire Qin family, go through many hardships, like dancing on the tip of a knife. If he is not careful, he will be smashed to pieces and fall into the abyss. But they can't help him. Everything can only be carried by himself, on his young shoulders. Isn't this decision too cruel? He's only 8 years old. That the 10th patriarch couldn't control it anymore. Tears welled up in his eyes. As Qin Feng's great-grandfather, he was the one who brought him up since he was a child, so his relationship with Qin Feng is naturally unusual. Let him see his child struggling to survive outside, and his heart feels as uncomfortable as a knife. Since ancient times, Xiongcai has had many hardships. He is 8 years old, but his mind and cultivation are not comparable to that of an 8-year-old child. The first ancestor looked at the disappearing figure with firm eyes. He believed that the child would come back safely, carrying the expectations of the Qin family, and bringing back the highest honor for the Qin family. Don't worry, don't forget that he was born with a blood moon, that the second ancestor comforted, reminding everyone of the scene of Qin Feng's birth. With the release of the blood moon evildoer, I am afraid that Huanggu will be in chaos, and the world of great struggle will soon come. Soon, the tragedy of the Qin family spread, causing everyone in the world to be shocked. The eldest son of the Qin family was jealous of his younger brother's talent, and dug out the supreme bone with his own hands. He didn't know how to repent afterwards and was expelled from the family, and was also issued a wild ancient hunting order. The explosive news and the shocking content, like dropping a boulder on the calm water, immediately spread throughout the ancient desert. It also reached the ears of Emperor Daxia, who quickly summoned all civil and military officials. True or not, it can't be the Qin family's trickery. The news has been confirmed. The second son of the Qin family was indeed dug out of the supreme bone, and the head of the family, Qin Tian, was so angry that he vomited blood from the mouth and collapsed. The boss of the Qin family is really a ruthless person, even his own younger brother is capable of killing him. Cultivation is the law of the jungle. What happened to my brother? The two great talents of the Qin family, one wasted and the other escaped, God help me Daxia. The Qin family is no longer a threat, and the war can be avoided. The boss of the Qin family is still alive, and his supreme bone is also a threat. He must be killed to be safe. This son is nothing to worry about. From the moment he dug out the supreme bone, he was doomed not to reach the top. That's right, he has doubts about his own strength, and he has lost his invincibility, so there is nothing to worry about. Emperor Daxia sat high on the dragon chair, and everything seemed like a dream. Last night, I was still discussing with the ministers how to break through the Qin family quickly. Who knew that the Qin family would be defeated this morning? Good. Emperor Daxia couldn't help laughing, and decided to choose a concubine to celebrate. At this time, Qin Feng was leisurely riding a little donkey on his way to the Yinhua dynasty. Finally saved up to 100 million villain points, Qin Feng looked at the 115 villain points displayed by the system, and decisively spent 6,500 million villain points in exchange for the Dzogchen realm. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for spending 100 million villain points to exchange for a Dzogchen 100% fit card. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for using the Dzogchen 100% compatibility card and reaching 33% compatibility with the 100-day good fortune art. Qin Feng's mind was like a thunderclap, and he was in an unconscious state. He could clearly feel the laws between heaven and earth, and he had a deeper understanding of the 33 heavenly good fortune art. The simple explanation is that originally he could only use 60% of his body's strength, but now he can use % of his own strength. It can be said that his strength has made a qualitative leap. This is the realm of Dzogchen. Qin Feng couldn't help but sigh with emotion when he came back to his senses, and finally realized the happiness of the chosen son. If he were to face Shang Lin San again, he was confident that he would beat him to the point where he wouldn't even know him if he didn't use the sky-slashing sword technique, provided that he didn't have any opportunities during this time. At this time, a loud laugh came from the front. Little girl, don't be afraid. As long as you let our brothers fight a cold war on you, how about we let you go? The hero saves the beauty. Qin Feng froze in place on the spot. This is the benefit that he, a villain, can enjoy.